And now, your host, Couch Tomato!
Hey, I'm Couch Tomato and I'm joined by...
Hulk.
Welcome to Stuff for Movie Buffs. And today we're talking...
How to Kill Thanos.
All right. For those of you guys who haven't seen Avengers Infinity War, I would imagine there's few of you guys out there. That movie just broke a record for the fastest movie to $1 billion, so kudos to them. But we may get into some spoiler territory, so if you haven't seen the movie yet and you mind spoilers, probably not the best idea to listen to this particular podcast until you see the movie. If you've seen it, or if you haven't and you just don't mind, we may or may not get into spoilers. So today we're actually going to be talking about Avenger 4 theories. So Thanos, who clearly stole the show in Avengers Infinity War, seems like the most invincible villain we've seen to date in the MCU at least. And acquiring minds want to know, how will they kill this guy? So we're going to throw out some guesses. So in order to do that, we'll reference some of the events that took place in Avengers 3. So we'll jump right into it. So one thing that's noticeable after you watched, a couple of things that's noticeable after you watch Infinity War is parts in the trailer aren't in the movie, where there's certain CGI characters, i.e. a Spider-Man and Hulk, to where they put those scenes in the trailer and that's not exactly what happened. But there's also some missing characters, which I thought was pretty weird. Hawkeye being one, but another guy, Ant-Man. And it's just very surprising since Ant-Man's follow-up film is coming out later this year, and they didn't choose to feature him in this film as a launching pad leading up to his film. So, so my question to you, Hulk, is where is Ant-Man? And do you believe his whereabouts have anything to do with how they'll defeat Thanos in the sequel?
With Ant-Man, like the only bit of evidence we get is from with Cap, like when he first meet War Machine, he's like, they give like a rundown, like, oh, we've been sleeping in, motels, things like that. And then he says, with Hawkeye,
they took a plea deal.
Yeah, they took a plea deal and they're on house arrest. Now, with Ant-Man, my theory or my thought process with him is that I think like he was on house arrest, he was dealing with his family, and then whatever event that triggers Ant-Man Part 2, like where he has to team up with, Wasp, or he has to, basically, get out of house arrest somehow, I think that's where we're going to see him like during Infinity War. So I don't know if the timeline will be exact, where they're both like, okay, like Infinity War is going on, but Ant-Man's trying to save this part of town. Like, I don't know if it's gonna be that exact.
That's gonna be lame.
Yeah,
I think there's a clear justification for it, and this is what I think. So we've seen the trailer. So some of these are educated guesses, hypotheses, if you will, that because I wouldn't like if they did that. Like, same thing with the after credit scene. Captain Marvel is paged, and I'm like, well, why didn't you page her in 2012?
In 20
when the battle against why didn't you page her in 15 with Ultron was taking over?
Yeah, with Thor: The Dark World, when that was happening.
Come on, like, what's going on? Is it specifically related to Thanos? I think with the trailer coming out, it looks like he may be in the quantum realm. And that's kind of protecting him from the events that's happening in our reality, to where he was like, I didn't even know about Thanos. I was trying to get my suit back. Somebody stole our tech, which is what you see in the trailer. So maybe my theory is that the quantum realm kind of protects them from our reality. And also, I think it kind of limits the reach of the Infinity Stones. And that goes to my first theory. I think Ant-Man is going to be extremely instrumental on defeating Thanos. And I think that we've actually seen some of the hints in Ant-Man Part 1, which I recently watched. Not a big fan of it, by the way. I went back and watched it because I think it's a great movie for kids. Like, I ended up watching Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and then I followed up with Ant-Man because my kids loved it so much. I put them on Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I said, well, you like seeing people get tiny. You guys never did see Ant-Man. Let me show it to you. And then when I watched it, it's a part where him's telling them about the quantum realm. And he says, and I paraphrase because I'm not going to try to quote him. He says the quantum realm is where time and space are obsolete. and for some reason, because I was getting ready to get into Infinity Wars, when he said time and space, naturally I thought of the time and space stone.
Yeah.
So if time and space are obsolete, it wouldn't be too far-fetched to believe that time, space, reality, power, mind, and I'm missing one, soul are obsolete there as well. To where, here's my theory. I think in order to defeat Thanos, you have to render some of his powers obsolete. And I think, at least in the quantum realm, you could render 2 of his stones obsolete. So far, watch this. Who has been the most powerful villain that we've seen in the MCU?
I mean, outside,
not the best.
Thanos.
Go ahead.
Thanos, of course.
Besides Thanos.
Besides Thanos, good question.
You know who I think it is?
Loki.
No, because I think Dormammu would like wipe the floor with Loki.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
I think it was Dormammu, but we never really got to see that battle because Strange basically introduced time to him. So it was like, hey man, I'm here to bargain. To where I think you're gonna have to do something similar to Thanos. It's like, I don't know if you're gonna take him down with a fist fight. We already seen what he's done to Hulk and Iron Man. I think in order to defeat this guy, you gotta outsmart him and you gotta use science and magic. Yeah. I think it's gonna be a situation to where they either A, trick him into going to the quantum realm, and then that kind of like limits his capabilities, or B, you at least trap some of the Infinity Stones in the quantum realm to where it's like, all right, you know, like this is what we're going up against. So I think Ant-Man, I think it's routine on why they, and I obviously it's not a mistake. I think Marvel puts a lot of thought into the way they release their slate, but I thought it's very instrumental and it's very poetic how they're choosing to release Ant-Man and Captain Marvel after the events of Infinity Wars. Regardless of how the timeline shapes up, the story is different. I just think that whatever they're going to introduce in those stories, it's going to give you a hint on how they're going to defeat Thanos. And I think the quantum realm is going to be key. So I believe Ant-Man was in the quantum realm. It says it in the trailer. Somebody used the quantum realm to steal Pym's technology, to where he probably was in the quantum realm while the snap took place or while the events took place. If time is obsolete, he could have been in there for weeks. Yeah. But in his mind, it was only 2 hours of the movie. So he gets out and he's like, whoa, where's my family? Thanos snapped. What? I didn't know this happened. So that could probably happen.
Yeah, I like that theory. And I don't know. Did you see like some of the leaked Avengers 4 set photos?
Yep, that's another that goes into my next question. So, can we save that? Only because we're going to talk about Captain Marvel first, and then we're going to talk about the theories on how to defeat Thanos. That's extremely important. I did look at that. If you haven't, what Hulk's talking about is go on IMDb and go look at the set photos for Avengers 4 filming. And I think that's going to lead me to some of my speculation. And that's the reason why I think Ant-Man's key, because he's in some of those picks. You also get a younger Captain America. Yeah. And you also get an older Tony Stark. So Back to the Future, here we come. But before we get into that, Captain Marvel. They chose, some people said it was the best after credit scene they ever saw. I was like, maybe not. It was cool. It wasn't that good. I mean, it was good, but it's like, come on, I've seen much better in the universe than that. I think, I've seen a lot better. That's all I can say.
Fury's still number one. Like I saw it yesterday, and it was just like it felt like the first time I watched it. You know what I'm saying? Like I still had the same goosebumps. Yeah. Like him saying, you know, the Avengers Initiative. Like, come on, that's classic.
Yeah, that's number one. I don't think there's anything you could do to top that. And so Captain Marvel, to be honest, the only main history that I have with that lady is I just remember from the 1992. Remember that cartoon with the Same here. I just remember Rogue holding on to her for a little too long, and then that's actually
same thing. But
if you remember Rogue, that's why a lot of people used to watch the cartoon, and they didn't. So I knew the comics and I knew the cartoon to where I was like, when they did the X-Men, the first movie, everybody thought they didn't do Rogue justice when she was actually the centerpiece of that movie, which is kind of far. It's mind-boggling how you would think that, but I'm like, nah, this Rogue don't got Captain Marvel's powers, but Captain Marvel is like a female Hulk, so it's like they're obviously going to use her for some extra muscle, and it's like, if me knowing what Rogue was able to do, and I'm like, oh, if that's what Rogue was able to do in the cartoon, imagine what this lady will do when she goes toe-to-toe with Thanos. I think that's going to be huge. I think, man, whatever records Wonder Woman broke, Captain Marvel is going to shatter that. It's just going to be very sad that DC is... Because the one thing that they had was like, well, DC does women films well. Marvel's about to take that too. I see it coming already. Like, the way they're going to position this lady is like... Because I keep thinking of Rogue. I'm like, oh, that's going to be like... She just going to be like a female Hulk. She going to be wrecking shop. Yeah. So my thing is, how do you think Captain Marvel is going to fit into Avengers 4?
No, that's the thing. This was tough for me too, because I didn't grow up with the character as much as any, a lot of people. Like my experience was the same with you, like just with Rogue with the X-Men cartoon. But with Captain Marvel, I think she's going to be very tied into a lot of, because it's supposed to be set in like the 80s and stuff.
90s, ain't it?
Or 90s, it could be. And yeah.
It's 90s.
the 90s. Excuse me, because Wonder Woman came out and they said that's going to be in the 80s. My bad. But with her, I wouldn't be surprised if they do time travel as well. Like maybe get some more backstory with her origin with the first Avengers. I mean, not with the first Avengers, but with just her history in that tie-in with an Infinity War. So with Captain Marvel specifically, I think she's going to play kind of like that Wonder Woman role, where I don't think she's going to be very prominent throughout the whole movie, because I think they're going to really focus on the original team, Ant-Man, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to really focus on that.
I think she's going to be the Vision of that movie. Like the way Vision, we can't be Ultron, we need something X Factor. Yeah. I think that's a prominent role. I think they're going to set up Brie Larson as the... if you look at, I think she's going to be an important role in the next film, and I think they're going to use her as like the Adam Warlock type character, because they're not going to. I don't think they're bringing him in, even though he had that after credit scene in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I just don't know if you bring him in this early. I think she's going to be the one that either wields the Infinity Gauntlet to reverse everything, because she has the ability to do that through her strength. But or they may give it to Iron Man. Who knows? We're not getting into theories yet. But yeah, like, and if you look at some of the people that were cast in her in the movie, that African dude from Tarzan. He basically was in Guardians of the Galaxy. When Peter Quill was like
who? Star-Lord? Yeah, when he's like
Star-Lord. Yeah. So he's in this movie. And you know how in Infinity Wars, basically Thanos sent his kind of like his apprentices like or whatever to go after. Yeah, I think his responsibility for all these years has been to chase the Power Stone. I think Gamora's was to go retrieve the Soul Stone. And I think everybody had a certain
Loki was, the Tesseract and all that.
Yeah, even though Loki technically had two. So it's like, and then I just don't understand when you get access to it, why you just can't summon them to come back right away. But and
Ronan is in this too, so I see it.
Yeah, so I think what they might do is to remix. You know how one thing that they established since the first Avengers is to destroy an Infinity Stone, you have to be an Infinity Stone, or a derivative of it at least. That's why Scarlet Witch was able to break Vision's forehead. Mm-hmm. So the Tesseract can't defend against itself, and that's why the Scepter was able to pierce the Space Stone to close the portal on Avengers Part 1, because basically Infinity Stones could break Infinity Stones. So it'll be nice if they make her powers kind of like they kind of stray away from the comics and they make the Power Stone the source of her power. You know what I mean? So since you see some of the same characters who were chasing the Power Stone in Guardians of the Galaxy, this is probably what led to it being in that position where Peter Quill found it in that cave or whatever. Like maybe Captain Marvel had something to do with that or its placement. But if they make her a derivative of the stone, all the other stones, she could just like snap her fingers and break them. Not that easy, but that's the only thing way I could understand you being able to like, all right, break the stone so no one could ever try to collect them again. So that would be cool. Like I said, I believe she's going to have a huge part. I don't think you'll see time travel in her movie. I think she's going to be in the 90s and we're going to leave it at that. But the quantum realm, if it's really going to be something to go up against Thanos, I do think it's a part of her movies. It's not confirmed, but I don't even want to mention my sources because it'll kind of be embarrassing. But I do think the quantum realm is a big part of her movie as well, at least from the Google searches that I've done. So I'm not going to mention any of those sources because it'd kind of be embarrassing for me to admit that. But there's some rumbling that the quantum realm has something to do with her storyline. So that leads me to my predictions that I'm about to do. So that's where I think she'll fit into the universe. I think she's going to be the key ingredient you need to defeat the Thanos, kind of like how Vision was with Age of Ultron. And remember, Vision was actually the one that sent the last blow to Ultron. I think it's going to be the same way with Captain Marvel.
Yeah. Like I'm just trying to like briefly read up like on her histories. Like yeah, like she's definitely. I think she's gonna be in space. Like she's supposed to be like an Air Force pilot, and then like the whole Kree. There's gonna be like a war going on. So
yeah, and that's her source of her power. I don't know if they're gonna do that fuse with the DNA type stuff. Who knows?
I think they could easily. I could easily see like where like they could switch up her origin just a little bit, where like one of the stones is actually the cause of her accident, or that, you know what I'm saying, and then she wakes up with more powers or whatever. So I definitely
like what's going on.
Yeah.
So now here's the fun part. How are they gonna kill this guy? So the main event, Thanos, you already saw what he did to the Hulk. You saw what he did to Iron Man.
Yeah.
You saw what he did to everyone with the snap of his finger. You saw how he survived the blow from the Stormbreaker. How do you kill this guy? So for everyone, I've always had an answer. It's like, nah, Loki seems very susceptible to stabbings. Just get close enough to stab him. With Killmonger, he's just a man.
Yeah.
So this is the only one. Same thing with Dormammu. It was like, that guy's a planet-sized dude. Like, the only way you could beat somebody like that is to trick him.
Yeah.
So now you mentioned the set photos. Get into that on what you saw, because I kind of did some spoiler alerts and told people about it already. But so you went on IMDb and you saw some of the set photos for Avengers 4, the untitled film at this point. What do you think that means? And explain to the people what you saw.
Okay. With this, it was pretty interesting because at first I thought it was fake. I thought it was like photoshopped or whatever. But then like I kept looking close and I was just like, wait.
Clearly looked real from me.
No.
Clearly looked.
No, because I didn't see it on IMDb. I saw it on Twitter. Like that's when I saw that too, and I
for some reason I believed it right away. I'm like, oh, that's what they're doing, eh? I thought it was going to be in this film though. I thought it was going to be Avengers 3.
Yeah, like I was like, that's why I thought it was fake. I was just like, yo, why are they Photoshop? But then when I looked closely, I was just like, yo, that makeup is too good. Like his hair is like perfect. Like it was like really, really gray. Like the Robert Downey Jr.
So basically, it shows present day Robert Downey Jr. communicating with the 2012 Captain America in the ugly suit nobody likes.
Yep.
And it shows Ant-Man with them. So what that shows is that they went back in time to the battle of against Loki, the battle of New York against Loki. I think the fact that Ant-Man's there, remember, time and space are obsolete.
Yeah.
So you could go to any point at any time through the quantum realm. I think they're limited because I think they have to use a vehicle so it doesn't mess with your head a little bit.
Yep.
Which is seen in the trailer for Ant-Man. So he was probably only able to take 2 or 3 Avengers with them. And he was like, let's just take Stark. Stark, we going back to 2012. Why is that point significant? That's the only time in this universe where the Avengers have owned or had in their possession 2 Infinity Stones. They have Vision for most of the phase 3, which is the Mind Stone, but they don't have anything else. In phase 1, they had Loki's scepter, but in at the Battle of 2012, Black Widow had the scepter and she also had the Tesseract right in front of her when she was piercing it to close the portal. So I think they're going to do something to where they're like, hey, destroy it. Why? Why should we destroy this? Destroy it, because if you destroy it now, it prevents Thanos from ever getting another Infinity Stone. They may either do that. The only reason why I think they won't is because if you have Loki's scepter and you destroy the Space Stone, Loki never goes back to Asgard to answer for his crimes. So that's one thing you have to deal with. But if you use the Space Stone to destroy the Mind Stone, we never get a Vision. Scarlet Witch and her, but that will also mean her brother probably survives. But it also mean that Ultron could have won that battle in 2015.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Yeah, they're gonna have to figure out like how definitive, you know what I'm saying, some of their solutions may be. You know what I'm saying? Like they can't just like, let's just destroy it. Maybe they have to use it for something else, or you know what I'm saying? Like that,
or trap it in the quantum realm. Because I think Thanos is gonna. I think Doctor Strange already looked at all the possibilities, at least going into the future. But if he was to look going into the past, if they were able to change timelines, I don't think there's any reality where Thanos doesn't get all of the Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
I think he finds a way.
Yeah.
So in this particular situation, why not let him get an Infinity Stone on your turf? Keep it in the quantum realm. That's why I said, all right, maybe it's a situation where you don't destroy the Space Stone, but you use the Space Stone to lock it in the quantum realm. So Thanos has to come there, where obviously I think he'll be weakened. So that's another theory that I have.
Yeah, just to piggyback on like on what you're saying, like I feel like another thing that I heard too, like with the Russo brothers recently, like they had an interview where someone asked them, "Oh, is it true like with the Soul Stone that the person's soul is trapped inside the stone?" And then he was just like, "Yeah, it's true." And I was just like, "Okay, interesting."
I think that's what you've seen with Gamora.
Yeah, like where her at the end, and she was just like, "Oh, what did it cost?" And he said everything.
Mm-hmm.
I could
so maybe they trap him in they trap his soul in there forever or something.
Maybe, or I can see them using that storyline as a way to weaken Thanos emotionally a little bit, like where he's not necessarily like that, you know, full of conviction as he was in the first part, because he's suffering, like he's being haunted by Gamora. You know what I'm saying? Like he's dealing with that. You know what I'm saying? Like
I would like a reality to where Thanos kind of defeats himself. To where it's like, okay, you know, but I do think Thanos doesn't have to die, but he needs to be away from this universe forever. Because when bigger foes come around and they mess up the imbalance, people are always going to have those questions like we have with Captain Marvel. Like, where were you in 2012?
Yeah.
Where were you in 2015? Where were you in 2018? Like, this is the pager that you send. People will have those questions about Thanos. Like, where were you when Galactus showed up, Thanos?
Yeah.
You know, like they need to trap him in like a phantom zone like they did General Zod.
Yeah.
It's like the Soul Stone could be that. And I also think they're going to have like some Dragon Ball Z type approach, because if you look at his gauntlet, how with the snap, it kind of exhausted his ability to wield those stones because it basically tore up the gauntlet. So I do think there's a limitation on beings, titans or gods, using stones. So I think it's a situation where, hey, you could only use a certain amount of power from all the stones at one time in a lifetime, to where he may not be able to use those stones again in the next film. And that's why those stones, it kind of like Dragon Balls, like you got to make a wish a year and then they scatter again, to where it's like, nah, another possibility is another Avenger collecting the stones to wield it themselves. Do you think that's possible?
I haven't really thought about it, but I think it is possible. I think it would have to be like somebody obviously powerful, and it could be like
or wait, I feel you. Or it could be somebody smart enough too. But I'll tell you what I think. Like, because Thanos, it didn't have to do with his power. It had to do with him kind of creating a weapon that was similar to the Stormbreaker. It was like, all right, this weapon was forged in the sun, and basically they still have the mold for the gauntlet if Thor wanted to make a replica. But I think somebody who has the technology to create a weapon that could actually control that power at once, it would be Stark. And I think that's what he'll be focusing on for the next film. I think Stark is like, hey, I'm gonna go talk to Cap, and I'm gonna collect these stones by myself, and I'm gonna create some tech, some nano extra technology to where I could wield the stones and I could snap back everything Thanos did. I have to do some research on these items, but I don't have enough time. Put me in a hyperbolic time chamber, which is the quantum realm. Same thing when Goku and those guys didn't have enough time when Cell was about to arrive. They were like, put me in a hyperbolic time chamber. I could do all the research that I need, and I could learn how to defeat my opponent. So if you lock him in the quantum realm to do like years of
I was about to say
research to learn about one stone, he could basically like, all right, I got it. This is what it takes to do it. I'm going to basically use this, and it'll be nice if he puts the stones in his chest plate rather than having an actual gauntlet. He attaches it to his chest. But if anyone's going to wield the thing, I don't think you give it to Thor, because it's unfair that Thor's the only one that could lift the hammer. I don't think you give it to Cap, because it's like, I think whoever gets the stones, they're going to have to sacrifice somebody to get the Soul Stone. It would be poetic if Cap volunteers for Tony to throw him off of a cliff, because that would basically kind of put a little bow on that friendship. Like, oh, wow, Tony did love Cap after all that betrayal.
Even though they fought together, it still hasn't gotten fixed.
They didn't share. Nope. They didn't fight together.
That's true. Yeah, they were not. Yeah,
any
that's my
scenes
bad.
together.
Any scenes together. Yeah, like
get that. He never finished dialing that number, brother. And I thought that situation isn't resolved. So I'm like, okay, it'll be like a nice send off for Cap. I know they're not going to kill Stark, because Stark they're already setting it up to where the end of Avengers 4 is going to be Stark's wedding. And it's going to be like, hey, I'm done. I'm retired.
Yep.
You guys got it. Black Panther's the new leader.
Yep.
Or Captain Marvel.
And Pepper's pregnant and...
Yeah, whatever. That's who he needs to throw off of a cliff, to be honest.
Wait, why?
He loves her. Just kill Pepper.
Yeah.
He technically already let her drop from a cliff on Iron Man 3 when he let her hand go. But I'll catch you. So it'll be deja vu. So, I mean, so those are our theories, for me at least. It's like either you trap Thanos in a soul or quantum, like in the soul gem or the quantum realm, or Thanos had to realize his mistakes. Like I think we'll see death manifest in some shape or form in the next film, to where she's kind of been feeding him these theories, in his logic, and he realizes, hey, you're just using me to kill people, to add to your arsenal, your army, or your army of the dead. Yeah. I don't like being used. I'm not a pawn. And he reverses stuff back on his own. But I would really like to see Thanos like die on his own sword. Like, like it's okay for me it's okay for me to witness him realizing the fault in his ways, but I just wouldn't like him to be rewarded. He needs to die.
Yeah.
Or he needs to suffer, He
needs to suffer. He needs to feel some pain. Like, trust me.
I agree. So, anything else?
No, I think that was it. Like, I was just trying to think of some other theories, and I think, like, to me, it wasn't, like, I really think Doctor Strange, like you said, Captain Marvel, Tony Stark, I really feel like they're going to be very key. Like, Strange because of what he said, and then,
and plus
Captain
he died.
Marvel.
So, you sure about that?
No.
He's going to be talking to them through the spirit.
No, I just think, I think, like, because I always think about, like, to the 14 million, whatever, and he said only one time did they succeed. And he just gave the stone so willingly to Thanos. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't fight to the death. Like, he was just like, okay, don't kill Stark. Here's the stone.
That's why I don't think we'll see the end of Stark. I think he's gonna be like the way Phase 1 was Nick Fury, who was the glue for everything. Phase 2, they started developing Stark to take that mantle away from Fury. And Phase 3 has been Iron Man. It's been Tony. I think Phase 4 will be a collection of people. I think it's good. I think we'll see their version of the Illuminati, which is minus a Professor X. You'll get
it could be Professor X now, because I heard, like, with Fox,
it's not. They're not gonna do that. They're not gonna do that. They're not gonna do that. They're gonna wait a while, because those movies are still profitable. So I don't see why you don't buy you don't buy a vintage vehicle to throw rims on it. It's like, no, you bought the vintage vehicle because it's already appreciating with value. Like, I don't understand why you just there's people who love the Fox universe more than the MCU.
The only
people
reason
like
why I say
that exist.
because like I'm hearing like with Phoenix, that's gonna be the last one.
It'd be nice, but then even if it is the last one, you gotta wait like 4 or 5 years to reboot that. 3 years on the best day. Spider-Man reboots the most out of anybody, and even they
Spider-Man,
wait like
Batman, like those characters, they could get rebooted within 2-3 years. They don't. Those properties.
Yeah, let me stop because Spider-Man 2, Amazing Spider-Man 2, and The Homecoming were like only 2 years apart.
Yeah, those characters, they're different. They're like on a different, you know what I'm saying, level. You know what I'm saying? So, but with X-Men, they'll probably have to wait for real.
Yeah, I just don't see them bringing him in too early. Or you at least introduce Mr. Fantastic to where it's like, okay, Mr. Fantastic, Stark, and Strange are because Strange and Tony, they're the same guy. One just believes the secret is science, and the other believes the secret is magic. Yeah. So I was anxious for them to get along quick, but I was like, oh, they hate each other. But then, well, Cap and Stark hated each other. Or you could put Captain in that Professor X role to where they're going to be the moral compass of the universe, of the cinematic universe. Yeah. But this is going to make him closer with Strange. It's like, wow, you already told me that you didn't care if me or the kid died, but the fact that you saved my life, we're homies now. I'm not really jocking Cap like that anymore. But I'm anxious to hear what you guys think. I'm also anxious to hear what some of our buddies from our private chat over at the our Patreon supporters. So I threw out the question to them: how to kill Thanos. And they sent me some audio, and here's what they thought. Like, here's basically their theories on how Thanos will get gutted in Avengers 4. So here it goes.
Hi, I'm Jeff, and I think the best way to kill Thanos would be to have the Phoenix show up. And that is how it's announced that Disney's acquisition of Fox and the X-Men and all this stuff, that's how that's going to get announced. And the Phoenix shows up, she ends Thanos, we all cheer, we roll stuff back, everybody's happy. That's the way I think it should get done.
Hi, I'm Father Stephen, and I think the best way to defeat Thanos is to unleash the universe's mightiest warrior. It's not Adam Warlock, it's not Captain Marvel, it's Marc-Andre Fleury. Go Knights, go! But in all seriousness, I think the way to defeat Thanos is by fighting him on the main realm and through the Soul Stone. Doctor Strange said that giving up the Time Stone was the only way, which I think appears to mean that they give up the stone as part of the One Way. And that the stones are the key, and it follows the Infinity Gauntlet storyline. It involves people being trapped in the Soul Stone. And Doctor Strange, who's in the Soul Stone with the others, in my opinion, is fighting from within with the new Avengers, and they're going to break free while also connecting through the other stones and allowing him to undo everything. So he's sort of the de facto leader. And Tony will lead the old Avengers until they break free for one gigantic battle that'll end the movie. Now, I'm sure I'm not close to being right, but this is as plausible as I can think with the story.
Hi, I'm Dmitry, and I think the best way to defeat Thanos is to use the Eye of Agamotto and choose the only future allowing it, as Doctor Strange did. This could explain silly surrender of the Time Stone. Thus I believe Thanos is done already, and we just have to wait and watch it happen.
Hey everyone, my name is David, and I believe that the best way to kill off Thanos is to call up Adam Warlock. I think that they're going to be going in that direction since they teased him in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, but there was no mention of him in Infinity War, so I'm not too sure. But that's what I think. Well, let's see what happens.
Hey, if you're not currently supporting our Patreon, make sure to head over to patreon.com/CouchTomatoFilms. Show us some love there. Instantly join our private chat. No matter how much you donate, it's just a way to talk about trailers, theories, and also review movies that we hate, love, and like. So do that. But all in all, guys, it's about that time. Thanks for joining us today. Before you leave, if you like what you heard, share it with a friend on Apple Podcasts or wherever you go for your podcast. Don't let this be the last time we hear from you or you hear from us. Support the show and become a sponsor by visiting our Patreon at www.patreon.com/CouchTomatoFilms. Join us next week and check out the show notes on where to find us weekly. It's Couch Tomato Films on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Couch Tomato Film on Twitter. Other than that, peace.